So welcome to the next section. In this section, we will see that how we could run the same project, but this time we will be using the Directus source code. And by using this approach, you can understand the code base of the Directus project, and you can even contribute to the code base in open source fashion. So yeah, let's start with the proceedings. I would say so. Let's go to the GitHub repository where Directus is. I would say the source code is available, and here you can see that we are having the source code. You can go and understand how this works. But for those who are coming from a Node.js background, so this is just a, I would say, PNPM based monorepo in which there are multiple packages listed, right? So the best approach is to clone this project from HTTPS or SSH, whatever you're comfortable with. But I like to go in a different approach. I normally like to go into the uh, release section, and in this release section, what I do is that I just click on the release, and you can see that the current release is 11.10.2, right? And this provide us you the current picture of Directus, what version it is on, and what are the changes which are made in this current version, right? So I normally pick the latest version, the latest release, and then I download the source code in the zip format, right? So you click on it, it will take some time, and it will go and download it as a zip file, right? So once you download it, you can open it the source code in any IDE. I will be opening it in WebStorm. So let me just open the WebStorm, and let me just make it into site, and let's drag and drop this folder into this, right? And let's trust the project. Okay, and this will open our project in the WebStorm, and let's make it full screen. And after that, just close all these dialogues, and then we can enter into our presentation mode. So let's enter into our presentation mode, right? So this is the complete source code of, I would say, Directus. And let me just give you a simple explanation of how this project works and what are the steps by which you can go and build this project, right? So it is a PNPM based monorepos. So for those who don't know what monorepos are, you can Google around and you can search the content around monorepos. So it is just a way to organize all of your projects in a single code base. That's what a monorepo is in simple terms, right? So if you come into this PNPM workspace, you can see that these are all the packages where which are present in these directories. This directors, app, API, SDK, and so on, right? So if you scroll up, this API folder, this is your part of the backend of Directus, which is, I would say, written in Express. So if you go into package.json, you might be finding Express in this package as well, right? So it is a Express-based backend. And if you go into the front end, so this app section, app folder, this is your front end of the project, and it is based on Vue.js, right? So if you just come to Google Chrome and let's say Directus, let's search for Directus code base, and this will give you a good glimpse of what the code base is like, right? So this is code base overview. Just click on this, and here you can see that it is giving you a clear explanation of what each folder is and how to change the code base accordingly, right? So we are having our this directory assets components, and this is, I think, the uh, data studio part, which is your front end, right? And then moving on, you are having this Directus connect, which is your, I would say, backend part, which is API source, right? And then we are having this clear folder structure in which you can go and further understand that what folder are containing what part of your source code, right? You can further read this. It will help you a lot in understanding the source code of Directus. So yeah, let's move on. So the very first thing you have to do is to build this project. And for building, I think you need, if you go into the root package.json, you can see, let me just close all these dialogues, and let's go into the root side. And here you can see that these are the engines which are required to build this project. Okay, so you must be on Node 22 version, and you must be having PNPM package manager, which must be greater than equal to 10 and less than 11, right? So if you're having those scenarios, you're good to go, right? So let's open our terminal, right? And let's build the project. So let me just here first, and let's see which version I am on. So node dash v. I am on version 20, so I need to switch it to at least version 22. So I will go with nvm use 22. This will switch me to version 22. And now if I type node dash v, you can see that I am on version 22, right? And I think I am having PNPM in this as well. So PNPM dash v should give me the version of PNPM if I'm not wrong. So I'm at 10.14.0 and I'm also good to go because this is between 10 and 11, right? And now the very first command you have to run is if you come into this package.json of the root, this is the command you have to run, which is this build command, and it will go and recursively build all the packages which are listed in your Directus project, right? So let me again open the terminal and let's run pnpm run build, and you should run this command from the root of your project, right? And just press enter, and it will take some time. Okay, so it's saying there's something wrong. Okay, command not found. Okay, so yeah, my bad. So you have to first install all the dependencies in this project, right? So we are not having any dependencies. So the very first thing you have to do is to run npm install, which is, I would say, similar to npm install, right? So very first step is to install your dependencies, and then you have to build the project, right? So npm install dash dash verbose, so that we could get a lot more output from this command, right? Now, once it's installing the packages, I want to show you the documentation where it is listed how to build Directus from the source code. So I think it's in Directus, let's say contributors guide, Directus development, if I'm not wrong. So if you search this, yeah, this is the dev environment. And here, I think, if I'm not wrong, this will give you all the commands to build Directus in for a development environment. Yeah, this is the one. So if you scroll down, you can see that here it is listed that you need to have version 18 of Node.js. And obviously, I don't think we need version 18 because right now we saw that they are requiring version of Node 22, right? So I think this documentation is outdated. So I request the Directus team to update this as well. So once you have this, version completed, you have pnpm installed, then you have to run pnpm install and then pnpm run build. So we were missing the pnpm install command and we directly ran build, which is not, I would say, the best option to do. So yeah, you have to run the install to install the dependencies, then you have to build the project. So once you are done with that part, the next thing is to create a .env file in your API directory with all the configuration options, right? And these are all the environment variables, I would say, which we have discussed in our deal section, right? So some of the environment variables are required, in which you will be providing, the database and apart some of the other environment variables as well, right? And you have to create that environment variable file in the API directory. And once you are done with that, I think then you're good to go. You have to then what you have to do is to initialize your database, which is this pnpm filter API CLI bootstrap. What this will do is that this will go and initialize your Directus tables in your database and run all the migrations. So this is the command to initialize that. And once that is done, then either you can go and run the project in a recursive dev mode, or you can go into the API folder and then run the dev command from there. Or either you can filter out using this pnpm filter package, which will just run the command of dev inside that API folder, right? In both the ways you can run the project, right? So let's get back to WebStorm. And yeah, so we have installed all the PNPM modules. We're good to go. Let's clear the screen. Let's close the dialog over here. And now we can type is PNPM run build. And this will go and build all the projects, all the, packages which is inside these packages folder. And then it will also build your front end and back end, right? So keep that in mind that API is your back end and this app is your front end. So once this command is running, let me just go into API folder and let's create a .env file right over here. So let me create a new file. Let's call it as .env. And here you have to provide some of the environment variables which are required to, I would say initialize or connect your directors with your database, right? So what we will do is we will use the same environment variables which we have used earlier while we created the project using that npx command. So let's just open that project. So I think that was inside this Directus demo, and we will attach in the same window, right? And let's copy that as well. So let's open .env. Let me just copy all these commands, and let's go back to our current version. Open this window, and let's paste it over here, right? So we'll be providing some of the basic variables, right, which is our Directus user password database, mentioning the port, some secret keys, some enabled regarding cache. For now, I will keep the cache as false because we don't need Redis for now. And then we will keep the username and password as simple, right, which is this admin@example.com. And let's keep the password as admin, right? And WebSockets are enabled true. And yeah, the public URL is good. The cost options are also good. And yeah, so we are good to go, I guess, right? So before running this project, the very next thing we have to do is to make sure that we have a Postgres database running in our system, right? And for that, I think we should go for Docker. If I'm not wrong, I am having a Postgres instance running. So yeah, let me just first stop all the containers. So let's stop all these and let's stop these, right? And yeah, we're good to go. And if I just check this, only show running containers. So I'm not having any containers which are running. So we're good to go. I just want to run one container, which is this Postgres database, which is of Postgres version 15, right? So let me just run this. And yeah, it's working fine. And now what I need to do is to just create a simple database for this Directus thing, right? So let me click on this. Let's go to execute. And let's go for tsql -u Postgres. And now we will create a database. Let's call it as Directus 2, right? The reason I'm creating Directus 2 is because I think I already created a database for Directus in this. So I'm not sure, but that's the reason I'm naming it as Directus 2. Now the database is available. So let's exit it from here. Let's close this. Now let's provide all those variables to connect. So my user is Postgres, right? And my password is also Postgres and my database is Directus 2, right? And I can also, connect my database with WebStorm as well to see all the changes, right? So let me see if I'm having any database section. So this is the database section. Let's go and connect our data source, right? So we will be having our Postgres, right? So let's scroll down to the Postgres section and let's call it as Postgres at the rate Directus 2, right? And it's running on my local host 5432. User is Postgres, right? And the password is also Postgres. And let's name the database like it is our Directus 2, right? So let's test the connection. And yeah, it succeeded. So let's click on OK. And I think we're good to go. So yeah, I would say so. Yeah, these right now you can see that the database is connected, everything is working fine, but we are not having any relations inside those. I would say this database. So once we are run the project, it will go and bootstrap all those collections by that command, right? So if you remember, we were having this command which we have to run to bootstrap our I would say project by which it will go and run the migrations and will I would say create all the tables regarding directors in our database, right? So let me just copy this command and let's open terminal and let's paste it over here, right? Now, before running this command, I want to just make sure that just want to give you the place where this command is coming from, right? So if you go into this API section over here inside this source, we are having this CLI section, right? So this is where all the commands are listed regarding the Directus CLI, and here you can see all the source code written for those commands as well. So this is the bootstrap section. What this is doing is, let me just open this file and give you a overview of what this is doing, right? So let me minimize all the scenarios. And here you can see that it is just initializing our bootstrap script, and which is again going and initializing our database with all the Directus tables, right? So if you click on this function, it is going and running all the tables, and you can see going on, it's creating all the tables, and going on, if you scroll down, it's creating all the columns, all the database tables. So all the information is right over here. And once that table is created, I think after that it goes and create your user, if I'm not wrong. So let's go one step back. So yeah, this is the point where it runs the migrations. So click on this, and here this is the code for running all the migrations, which are just scripts to create all those Directus tables, right? And let's go one step back, and after that you can see that it is creating our default admin user who, once all the migrations are running, have run, I would say. Then it's creating our default admin user, and here you can see that it's creating a default admin, which is again picking all those values from our environment variables, right? So admin email is from here and admin password is over here. If those are not provided, it is defaulting to I would say defaulting to this email and this type of password, if I'm not wrong. So since we have provided all those environment variables, we are good to go. So let's open our terminal and let's run this command, right? So let's enter it, and it's saying that it's not compiled. Okay, so I think I went back to node 18. Okay, so not 20. So let's go nvm use 22. Now we are good to go, and let's place this command and let's press enter, right? So yeah, this is running. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so it is saying that something is went wrong. So it's saying DB client environment variable is missing. Okay, so let's see that what this environment variable is. So let's go to I would say Directus configuration. Okay, and let's come over here and let's search for I would say Directus underscore client. I think this might be in the database section, right? Yeah. So this is DB underscore client. Okay. So since we are using Postgres, so it should be Postgres, right? So let me just copy this as well. And let's go to environment variables. So it was inside this. And let's paste it over here. And let's call it as Postgres because we are using that Postgres database, right? And let's run now and hope everything should work fine. So yeah. So now, yeah, I'm waiting. Okay. So now it is requiring us, so it's saying that P6 run node environment is equals to development. Is it PNP recursive first fail? Okay, so there is something going wrong. Okay, so now it's saying that TP underscore host is missing, right? And so let me just copy the host as well. And in our case, since the host is running at localhost, so we call it as localhost. I hope now everything should work fine at least. So let's run it. Okay, so now it's requiring DB port as well. So, okay, that's also missing, right? Let's call it as DB underscore port that is equals to 5452. Okay, so let's run it again. Yeah, now it's working fine. So yeah, quite a try, I would say. So these were actually, I think when we were working with a simple scenario, with that npx command. So these were, I think, mentioned in Docker Compose, right? But you have to mention these in this because we have to, somehow provide the client and host and port as well. So yeah, I think the migrations has been run. So let's verify it into our database. So let's open our database section, which is this one, and let's refresh it and see if there are some tables. So yeah, we have 27 tables over here, which are all Directus access activity collections. So yeah, everything is working fine. So now the next step should be to, I would say, fire up Directus, right? So everything's working fine. So for firing up, if you come to documentation, so it says either you can run this command or either you can go into your API folder and run this command, pnpm run dev, or either you can, just filter out the package. So let me just copy this command and run it from the root, I would say. So let's open our terminal, let's clear it and let's run this command. And if you press enter, I think it's something is happening, and yeah, we're good to go. So a couple of warnings, which are, I would say, we can ignore them for now, but it's saying that yeah, the service has been started at port 8085. Let's close this as well. So yeah, let's go to this port, which is 0.0.8055. Let's click on this, and yep, here you can see that our Directus instance is working fine. And now I think we can log in, right? So if we are not wrong, so this was our email for our administrator user, and this was the password, right? And before I was trying out this thing, I don't know why it was complaining as invalid credentials for this 0.0. It was not working for that, I would say, host. But when I switched this to local host, it was working fine, right? So don't know why this issue was appearing, but yeah. So my suggestion would be that rather, going for this URL, which is 0.0.0, go for localhost 8055, right? So let's just close this, open a new tab, and let's type localhost 8055. Let's enter it, and that's where our Directus is running, right? And now let's place as admin at the rate example.com, and let's call it as admin, and let's sign in. Yep, so there you go. Welcome to Directus. And yeah, there is one thing which I think I mentioned it if I'm not wrong. So Directus is free to use under 5 million USD dollars. If you're having 5 million or more, then I think you have to go for a license, right? But under 5 million, you're good to go. So let's accept it. And yeah, there you go. So we are having our Directus instance running right from our source code, right? And yep, I think that's it. And if we need to customize this, the code base, we can do that as well, right? So let me just come over here, clear this. And now let me just make a small change into the code base and see that how it affects our application, right? So if you go into, let's go to front end and add some HTML to it, right? So let's go into source, and inside source we are having, I think if I'm not wrong, it's inside routes, login, and inside components, right? So this is our login form. So let's add something in our login form, right? And they're using Vue for that, right? And Vue is no doubt a very good front-end framework. So let's scroll down, and this is our button, right? Which is saying sign in, submit. And if you scroll up, this is our input field, which is saying username, email. So let's type something over here, H1, and let's call it as this is the customization of directors done by Javi. Okay, so that's my name, and let's start it again. So we have made our changes into our app folder, right? Which is our front end. So we have to build that. So let's clear. Let's go to terminal and let's go into our app directory. And inside app, I think for building this project, what you have to do is to, if you come into the package JSON dot of this app directory, I think inside the scripts, you have to build this using this command, right? So we can type npm run build, right? And you can also filter this package by, running that npm dash dash filter app and then run build, right? So both will be equally, I would say, both commands are equal. So it's building for production, we are transformed, and yeah, we are up. So let's go one folder up and run the same command of yeah, this one, pnpm filter API dev, and let's enter this. So this will start our Directus project, and now there should be something different on our login page, right? So if you go into our login page, let's refresh it, and yeah, there you go. So this is the customization of Directus done by Afaq Javed, right? Yeah, quite a, I would say, quite a journey which was worth it, right? So we have made some changes in the Directus code base, right? So yeah, this is how we build a project from, I would say, source code and make the changes accordingly. And this is how you can change the source code, right? So it's open source, anyone can come in and change it accordingly, right? So yeah, this is the most recommended way of, I would say, creating a Directus project. And this is how I like to set up a Directus project, right? Because this gives me a feasibility of customizing the Directus source code as well, right? And before ending, I just want to show you guys that I've also contributed to Directus as well. So if you come to Directus GitHub, and let's go to the official GitHub repository of Directus, and inside this issues, not issues, I would say, go to pull request and just search for a file job. And yeah, this was the pull request which was merged, I think. Yeah, this one. And it was a good first issue, a simple one, but it was worth the try, I would say. And these guys over here, I think this form FCW, if I'm pronouncing his name correct, he helped me a lot, and it was quite, I would say, a journey to much, I would say, contribute to Directors, right? And Directors was such a project that I was so much amazed, and it forced me to make open source contribution to Directors, and it was my first open source contribution. And yeah, it was, I would say, quite a joy to contribute to Directors, right? And thanks for these guys to make this journey more, I would say, suitable. So yeah, that's it for now. See you, I would say, in the next section, in which we will, I would say, dive deep into the fundamentals of Directors, and we will be working with this Directors Studio, and we'll be seeing how we could create our very first collection, right? So see you in the next section.